We begin with breaking news from the United States, where the Supreme Court has ruled that former presidents are entitled to absolute immunity for what they called official acts, but not for unofficial acts. The ruling will extend the delay in the criminal case against Donald Trump. The High Court has sent the case back to a lower court. Earlier this year, the court was asked to decide whether Mr. Trump was immune from prosecution for his role in the January 6th, 2021 riot at the US Capitol when he was president. The timing of this ruling is important as the window for a trial to happen before the November election is narrowing. Let's examine this with our Washington correspondent, Janelle Dumoulin, who's outside the US Supreme Court building. Welcome, Janelle. Talk us through what this verdict means.
Well, in very simple terms, this is a ruling that is very favorable for Trump. He gets absolute immunity for official acts and no immunity for unofficial acts. So that throws up the question, what is official, what is unofficial? And part of that question has now been thrown down to lower courts to decide. But based on our reading of the Supreme Court's opinion, they seem more inclined to view more acts done while in office as official than not. By any reading of this ruling, however, it does represent a dramatic widening of presidential power. All the president has to say now is that an act is official and perhaps the president could then be able to do whatever they want, which I think throws up very interesting possibilities for Biden, but that's another story. Now, it's important to note at this point that this vote also fell along ideological lines, 6 conservative judges for, 3 against. And at this point, I would like to read from the dissent of Justice Sonia Sotomayor. She says, the relationship between the president and the people he serves has shifted irrevocably. In every use of official power, the president is now a king above the law. With fear for our democracy, I dissent. Now, also worth noting here that in such dissents, it is customary to put respectfully in that last sentence. She did not do so this time, and that tells us what she truly thinks of this verdict today.
OK, so we've heard from Donald Trump, who has described this as a big win for democracy. So what does this really mean for the former president?
Well, as he said earlier, because of how long this court has taken to rule on this matter, this delay has already proved advantageous to Trump. Any sort of delay that diminishes the chances of him facing a trial before the November election is helpful to Trump. But with this ruling today, this could represent further delays, as special counsel Jack Smith now has to go back to his case and look at the parts of his case where immunity immediately applies, where he has a chance of disproving the immunity that had been outlined here today. So those could constitute further delays, and we know that if Trump is elected as president, which there is a fair chance that he could be, he might be able to make this case go away, get the Department of Justice to drop the charges. So at this point, we don't know if a trial will take place at all, but we do know that the chances of it happening before November, while vanishingly slim before, are even slimmer now.
OK, thanks for that, Janelle. DW Washington correspondent Janelle Dumoulin.